Guten Tag. Welcome to Germany during the Second World War. World War II was a global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945, and Germany played a significant role in it. Between 1933 and 1945, Germany's government was controlled by Adolf Hitler and his National Socialist Workers' Party, which is more commonly known as the Nazi Party. In German, we call this the Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei.
Volksgenossen und Genossinnen, meine deutschen Arbeiter, ich bin aus euch selbst herausgewachsen, bin einst selbst unter euch gestanden, bin in 4,5 Jahren Krieg wieder mitten unter euch gewesen und habe mich dann durch Fleiß, durch Lernen und ich kann sagen durch Hungern
Before and during their rise to power, the Nazis used a high amount of propaganda in order to increase their support and appeal. The propaganda was in the form of things such as leaflets, posters, and radio announcements. Joseph Goebbels was the Reich Minister of Propaganda during Nazi Germany and made sure that all art forms are eliminated except for those that glorify the government. In the following clip, you can see some examples of typical propaganda during that time. As mentioned earlier, propaganda was often found in forms such as posters and leaflets. However, a large part of propaganda was also music. When you were entering the room, we played some typical German march music. This song, however, had no lyrics. Songs with a similar beat often had added lyrics that promoted political cause and encouraged support for the Nazi Party. The songs are very upbeat and convey a clear message that puts the government in a positive light. For example, listen to the following song, called Forward, and let's see if this is a form of propaganda. Hopefully, you were able to recognize that this song is a form of musical propaganda. Why? Well, there are several reasons for that. First of all, the song is very upbeat and it is in the beat of march music. Secondly, lyrics that encourage the duties of army are very predominant in this song. The song even ends with the lyrics, Führer, order us, we will follow you, which encourages support for the leader Adolf Hitler. The music was very commonly known in Nazi Germany and the population had little access to anything else. They were forced to listen to and look at propaganda, which was very persuasive. Now, let's listen to the second song, which is called Westerwaldlied. This song has lyrics not only encouraging the duties of the army, but they promote them in a way as if the soldiers were saying that it was their personal choice to march. This is an even more effective form of propaganda, and it's more successful. Music during this time was under the policy of Gleichschaltung, which means that the music was forced to conform the Nazi ideal. Musicians that did not conform to this ideal were shunned and effectively censored. For example, music by Mendelssohn and Meyerbeer was completely forbidden because they were Jewish. Many musicians and composers, such as Leo Smith, Gideon Klein, and Victor Ullmann, were exiled to their deaths because of their Jewish ancestry. Others, such as Karl Robert Kreiten, were exiled because they were reported to have made negative remarks about Adolf Hitler and the war effort. In terms of types of music, jazz was strictly forbidden because of its origins from southern states of America and associations with African Americans. In addition to the propaganda songs, there are many discriminatory songs against Jews, such as Blut muss fließen and Deutschland erwache. Deutschland erwache, or Germany awake in English, is a song about Aryans being superior to Jews and is highly biased. This was one type of the songs that were allowed during that time.
Deutschland erwache aus deinem bösen Traum. Gib fremden Juden in deinem Reich nicht Raum. Wir wollen kämpfen für dein Auferstehen. Arisches Blut soll nicht
Although the Nazis had very strict rules about what was allowed and what was forbidden, many people still participated in resistance movements. The Swing Kids, or Swing Jugend, for example, were a group of jazz and swing lovers in Germany during that war period. They opposed the National Socialist ideology, especially the Hitlerjugend. As mentioned earlier, jazz music was forbidden because of its association with black musicians. The lyrics of jazz music also went against Nazi ideology, as they promoted concepts such as free love. The Swing Kids' behavior went against the regime that was enforced by the Nazis. Through their clothing and music, they defined a counterculture. By organizing dance festivals and contests and inviting jazz bands, they mocked the Nazis, the military, and the Hitlerjugend. A common phrase for them was the swing heil, which was another method of mockery. Even though the Swing Kids were not an organized political opposition organization, they evolved to be a non-violent refusal of the civil order and culture of National Socialism. As many of their members were from the upper middle class, they had access to music that was not allowed on German radio. Unfortunately, in 1941, during a brutal police operation, more than 300 members of the Swing Kids were arrested. The consequences were very different from person to person. Some were sent back to school and were then closely monitored, whereas the leaders were deported to concentration camps. This mass arrest encouraged the rest of the group to become more politically aware and encourage further opposition to the regime. The Swing Kids began distributing anti-fascist propaganda. Once again, the police took force and clubs were raided and the participants were exiled to concentration camps with beatings and forced labor.